Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I got something cool today. I've been procrastinating for a little over a year now on a rear bumper for my Gladiator, and I got a really cool bumper here from Savvy OffRoad. My biggest issue was I didn't know if I was going to do like a bob bed or leave the bed as is, and honestly I'm still not sure. But if I want to start taking it off-road, I got to get rid of this factory bumper. It just hangs down too low, and the Savvy OffRoad is super high clearance. That was one of my biggest things. I wanted something that was high clearance, up and out of the way, and I still wanted to be able to tow my little camper. That's a must for me, right? And I got trailers here at the house that I'd like to pull from time to time, make this little diesel Gladiator do truck things. So anyways, I'm going to show you all these parts. The coolest part about this, it's like a modular system almost. So it's got a really strong center section that bolts on similar to the factory hitch and bumper. So it uses that main piece in the middle as a strong starting point, right? So you bolt that up. Super heavy duty. It's pretty sure it's 3/16 and it's steel for sure. The rest of the parts are all aluminum. So when I say modular, right, everything bolts onto that center section. So it has the centerpiece of the exterior part of the bumper, the end caps, and then the pieces that go on each side of the bed, and there is some trimming involved, but all of that's made out of aluminum. The best part of that is as you beat the heck out of this bumper, which we all know it's going to happen with this Gladiator, the departure angle is not very good. You're going to beat on whatever bumper you put on the back of it. It just doesn't matter. But the fact that you can beat on these and be able to, when they get so bad that you got to replace them, you can just buy the replacement parts. So that is super cool. You don't have to buy the whole bumper again, right? You can keep that center section. The center section is so heavy duty, I don't see anything ever happening to it or damage bad enough to ever have to replace it. So that being said, when you need to replace something, it's going to be the outer skins of the bumper. So the centerpiece and the two corner pieces. And I'll give you a close-up on those pieces here in a second. Also in this, they give you a license plate relocation bracket, right? So this will mount on the tailgate right under your backup camera. And they go as far as to give you the license plate, the little lights you can buy. If anybody's ever relocated a license plate before, you know what I'm talking about. They're little screw-on pieces that hold the license plate on the bracket, and it's also has a little light that shines on the license plate. So they give you those as well to wire in, which is great, right? You don't have to buy everything separately. On the bumper itself, this thing's actually upside down. So this will be turned the other direction because this kind of slants. But it has the holes here for backup sensors if you have that option on your Jeep. It has holes here for a set of rigid pods, so you can, and they come in multiple colors you can use here. I don't have the set of those yet, but it's an option, very cool option. If you wanted to hook them up to your reverse lights, you can do that, have some extra light. So this is the center section. This is all aluminum. It's very thick. This is how it'll sit. Basically, it'll be flush like this, and you can see how that kind of angles down. And I'll explain that more when it's installed. But it's all aluminum. It looks also like it's probably 3/16 thick. And then these are the bed sides. So these, you trim the bed. These will go on the very sides of the bed in the back. I'll be drilling holes through the bed sides, and these are the backing plates. And then these are your corners. So they'll bolt to this piece. You can see how those kind of match up, those holes and those holes. So these will bolt together, and they use 3 bolts. So like I say, it's like a modular setup. It's a very cool setup, I think, because you can replace parts as they wear, basically. I've had many of steel bumpers in the past. They get dented And when they're bad enough, you have to buy a whole new bumper. I like the fact that these are able to replace parts if needed. And if you don't really go off-road, this is still a very nice bumper. It'll last you a lifetime and you don't have to replace anything. Me, on the other hand, I'm gonna abuse it and see how tough it is. So anyway, stay tuned. I'm gonna put you in a time lapse. I'm gonna remove the rear bumper, the rear hitch, the wiring for the trailer wiring, plug-ins, and I'm gonna start there. Okay, so check it out. I've got the factory bumper and factory hitch off of the Jeep, and what I'm doing now is putting the center section on, the Savvy center section on, and you basically reuse your factory bolts that came out of the factory hitch, and then they supply you with some nuts for the longer bolts up top. And here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's got 2 bolts in the bottom, and you're gonna reuse those, this one and this one. It's got the 2 bolts here and here that I'll push this up into place and mounts to the frame of the truck, and then one here and one here. I just got these 2 bolts kind of holding it in place. But that's what I'm doing now. I'm gonna install the Savvy center section, and then what I'll do is I'll put the centerpiece, the aluminum centerpiece on. I'll put that on, and then these are the corners. I'll probably loosely put them in place, or at least put one in place, because I need to find out where exactly these go, and they'll end up going in this area here. And then I'll have to drill some holes and put the backing plate. But I want to put the bumper section together, so when I put this in place, I can follow the lines of the bumper, because it's kind of crucial that you want it all to match up and line up right? So that's what I'm gonna do now. Okay guys, something you should probably know. Here's the key. On these bigger nuts that you use for the bigger bolts, the bottom one is gonna be hard to get into this cross member. Take you a little magnet, hit it here, push it down in through the top, and then turn it in, and then when you put this bolt in, you'll hit it. But this will, just a FYI, it'll make your life a little easier if you have this magnet. Next step, so I got the center section put on here. Now we got to cut some pieces on the bed for clearance for the center section. You're going to measure 5/8 in from this edge to here, 5/8 inch, and then you're going to measure from the bottom up 1 inch, right? And then you're going to try to transfer that with whatever method you want to transfer it with. So I want to try to show you how to do this the proper way. I hadn't cut anything yet, but I want to try to make these measurements make sense. So here we go. So we did the 5/8 in here, and then we did the 1 inch up here. So this little section will get cut along with this section that follows it, right, in the back side. Also, what we're gonna do is we're gonna measure from here up another inch to mirror this measurement, 1 inch, and then we're going to do from here up 2 inches, and then we're going to try as best as you can to lay down a straight piece of tape. The thinner tape you have, the easier it is to manipulate it around this corner. Do the best you can. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but it would look better if it was. So bring it around the edge here, and we're going to bring it all the way over till, and I'm going to try to see if you can see this, but there is a seam that kind of follows this contour. It dips in here to make this recessed area here. So you kind of follow this in, and then it comes down, and it continues on all the way down, right? So you're going to take this piece here, you're going to wrap it on around and make it to where it's 2 inches here, right? So what we're gonna do then is we're gonna, at this little piece, and when if you rub it, you can feel it. Where they meet, you're gonna take another piece of tape and you're gonna put it here, and you're gonna measure, before you actually put your tape, you're gonna measure 3 inches from the edge here to here, and then mark it, right? So that's your measurement for your piece of tape, and that is the angle that you're gonna cut. If you meet it here and meet it here at the 3 inches from the end, it's gonna give you the angle of cut, and you're gonna cut along the bottom of this tape all the way around, right? So that's gonna be your cut. That's your longest cut. Then you're gonna do the same up here, and here's kind of what I did, right? So I still have my fender flare installed. So I went on the inside, if you can see it, and I just kind of traced where the fender stops here, and then I took my my square and then traced it all the way out to the end. But there's a measurement for that. You're gonna want to measure from the bottom here up to the edge 5 inches, right? So that actually gives you a starting point to start this line if you have your fenders removed. And what you're gonna wanna do is, same thing, it's recessed through here, right? Just like the other side. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna wanna take your 5-inch measurement here, mark it, and then you're gonna bring that down to the bottom of this where it starts to take a turn, right? And there's another little lip, you'll feel it. So it's into the body, or the outermost part of the body, it starts to turn in, and then there's another little lip right here, just like there is in the back, right here. So what you're gonna do is, right above that lip, you're gonna bring this line, and you wanna match it to the top of this lip. And when you're doing this, you'll be able to feel it. So you can start and stop and pause this and get your bearings. Okay, and then you're gonna take that line here, and you're gonna take your 3-inch mark here, and you're gonna trace it up just basically about an inch from where it starts here to here, about an inch in, and then you're gonna just trace it down, because that's gonna be your cut. Anything below these white marks and below this tape gets cut off. So I'm trying to make it make sense. I hope it does. 5 inches from here to here, 3 inches from here to here. These are your cut lines. And then 2 inches here to here, 1 inch from here to here. So that's gonna be what you cut on. Once you get that all cut away, and I'll show you why. So all this has to be moved out of the way. For one, you have end caps that hook to the middle section of the bumper that's aluminum. And this is gonna clear way, or make way, for those end caps. And so what I'm gonna do, once all that's cut, and this should make sense now, this is gonna allow for this piece here to sit flush. I'm just not gonna willy-nilly cut all this stuff off and be too much. So I'm gonna do what I've got here first. It looks like it should work. If not, I'll cut off a little at a time until it does work. That's part of doing stuff like this. If you gotta make this piece fit. So you gotta, like I said, cut smaller at first if you're not comfortable, and then cut your way into making this fit. You don't have to cut a bunch too much too soon, because then it won't look very good. And honestly, see that hole? Boy, if I could reuse that, that'd be great. Wouldn't have to drill that one. So I would assume, let me see here. Yeah, so if I did that, so that's probably what it is. If I did that, you can see straight through there. So it doesn't go up here, I don't think, on the outermost edge of the bed. It goes down here. And I'm still figuring this portion out. These bumpers are so new, there's not really any instructions on how to do this portion of it. Honestly, it's kind of self-explanatory. If you build these Jeeps or any Jeep, or if you build your Jeep and you have wrenched on it, this is kind of, it'll fall into place when you start working on it, basically. But the reason I'm making this video, I'm hoping to help you guys when it comes to install. And they're working on the instructions for an install, and they will be on the website as soon as they get it finished. But I'm hoping doing this will help you guys visually see it when you see someone else do it. I'm gonna work this out. I'll correct it and let you know.
It was at this moment he knew he fucked up.
Oh, word of caution. So I went into this thing, you know, headstrong, because I do this shit all the time. Well, I didn't account for the wiring. Your taillight wires are ran down this piece, in this cavity, down in, and then they take a sharp turn and go back towards the frame. Well, I cut my wires. Check it out. See, I cut 3 of the damn wires on this harness because they literally, there was a piece that holds these on. It just stuck in that hole there, a little keeper that held them up. Well, they hang lower than I cut. So naturally, as soon as I seen it, I knew what I did. But I can wire this back up. It's not a big deal, but it pissed me off nonetheless because I wasn't paying attention. So, note to self, when y'all go doing this, make sure you pay attention to where those wiring harnesses are on both sides and keep your grinder wheel away from them. I'm gonna wire that up. I'll put some shrink tape on it, then wrap it. Like, it'll be fine, but nonetheless, it pissed me off a little bit. There's no point in even having this whole piece here, right? Because it's basically tell you to cut it at an angle because it's kind of gonna be at an angle. But you still got to get it enough to get this up in here, like this is, right? So that's where it stops. So in order to do that, I'll have to cut this out more and more. I don't see why. Right there's a little lip. I don't see why I just don't take the damn grinder and go and get rid of all of that, because it's not doing anything anyways. Literally, this thing is not, there's no strength to it. There's no nothing to it. So why not take a line, go right across there and get rid of that altogether. So I think that's what I'm gonna do to make this a little easier on myself. And then I'll put the fender back on, and then I'll line it up to where I want it. And then that's where I'll mark my holes to drill the holes. But yeah, I think I'm gonna take it and just go right through there. It goes. You can feel it. It's a little groove. Not really a groove, but a bend. Okay guys, check it out. I changed up a few things. I've got a later model version of this bedside, and the newer version, I'll post a picture of it in the video. But basically what it is it takes this piece here. See how it's boxed almost. It's got a side on it here and a side on it here. So the new versions is flat on one side, right? So it doesn't require as much trimming. So what I ended up doing was I trimmed the entire bottom piece off of the bed, right? So if you look at it, you can see I've trimmed quite a bit actually. I cleaned it. I cleaned this area up here. There was a piece that came out, kind of was rounded. It didn't need to come off. I trimmed it off because I wanted it to be aesthetically pleasing. You can see where my fenders have been rubbed in the body, so some touch-up paint is going to be required. But I'll probably change this stuff out in the long run. I trimmed out this whole bottom. It hung down to approximately right here. So here's the piece that I cut off. So I originally cut it at an angle, which is what they tell you to do, and that'll be fine with the new parts that they're making. This literally was right here, and yeah, I could have made it work leaving this here, but the piece that they have on the bedside wouldn't go in very good right here. That's why I angle cut it, and you can see when I set this back up here that I literally just notched it out. But I didn't like that. I figured, you know what, I'm gonna cut off the entire bottom. It doesn't matter, because at this point, this piece that I just cut off is just gonna be hidden behind the bedside piece. So I cut it off completely. It's not gonna make any difference. There's no structural integrity keeping that piece on. Same thing over here. This one I didn't cut at an angle, because I have figured out that I just wanted to cut all of it off, right? So I cut the whole damn piece off, and you can see that's probably about 3 inches that I cut off. So, you know, on these Gladiators, the higher clearance the better, naturally. So I cut it off. It's not needed. And this is the results when everything's put back together. This piece will be there, and it'll set just like this. So I'll still have to drill these holes and bolt these up when this will be the last piece. But either way, that's what I did. So I'm fixing to bolt up the center section here. I'm gonna probably loosely bolt the caps onto the ends. I'm gonna button this back piece up, put the caps on, and then I'll test fit the other ones before I muck my holes and drill them. Okay, so I've got the corner pieces bolted to the middle section, and I'm fixing to put it on to this piece here. It bolts to the outer pieces, bolt here in these two holes, and same on the other side. So I suggest putting these corner pieces on first, because they're kind of hard to get to. So you got a small bolt here, looks like maybe 7/16 or a 1/4 inch, and then two in there that are, I believe, maybe 3/8 bolts. And when I'm talking about size, I mean the size of the bolt itself, not the wrenches you need to put it on. But same thing on both sides, with the small one and then the two on the inside there. And then when you bolt it, or when you put it on the main part, it's got a bolt here, that bolt to that area there. These are slotted so it allows for adjustment, which is great. You move it in and move it out according to how you want it to line up on your truck. I'm going to try to get it as close to the body lines as possible. So I wanted to point out, so you have options with this bumper. You can keep it high and tight as is, or it's built to accept the hitch for a JL Wrangler and the harness for the trailer wiring holder also from a JL. So what I did was I need to pull a trailer from time to time, so I'm going to install that now. I forgot, you got to do that before you install the outer skins, because then you won't be able to get to the bolts. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll show you what I mean once I get the hitch kind of hung in place, and show you also the wiring when it's installed here. That way you know exactly what I'm talking about. How they designed this. You know, they didn't design this to be a max tow package. So whatever these Gladiators are rated at, you know, for insurance purposes, naturally they can't say it's rated to tow. I'm gonna tow whatever the heck I want to tow with it. If it's the cross member, I can tell you right now is plenty strong. I'm not worried about it one bit. You can see here where the 4 bolts bolt up. Like I said, this is for the JL hitch. And on the bottom here, you can see, let's see, right here and here is for the harness cradle, the piece that cradles the harness, and that piece just snaps in. Matter of fact, let's go see it. So what I did, you can buy this piece from Mopar. I bought a heavy duty one, but you can see here, and this thing's super thick and super strong. Basically, you will snap your wiring plug out of your stock bumper. This has got 2 snaps. You push them in and it slides out of the bumper, and then you just slide it in here and it snaps together. But you can see this piece that I bought, it's an aftermarket piece. It's got the skid on it, and I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember who I bought it from. Sorry, it's been 5 years ago, but it's heavy duty. So I'm gonna use this piece. The hitch is literally just a JL hitch. Let me get it out of here. I'm gonna get these things installed, and then I'll show you what they look like in place before I put the outer skin on. I got the hitch and the wiring harness adapter on, so check it out. It bolts on just like any old JL hitch would. And here is the trailer wiring harness, 4-way and 7-way. And this skid plate, like I said, I'm gonna have to figure out where this came from, because this thing is beefy. You hit it, it's not gonna hurt it, versus the JL adapter. So I'll tuck all these wires up out of the way here, and then it'll be good to go. So all right, now I'm gonna put the outer skin on and bolt it up, fit it, and then I'll cinch those down when I got them where I want them. Being that I got an early production in these bumpers, I've got to do some trimming. So an FYI, and I'm sure, and I'm gonna reach out and tell them that we're gonna need more of a recess. So the hitch fits fine. It's the trailer wiring harness holder, which, to be fair, it may be the fact that I have an aftermarket holder, right? So it's big, it's bulky, way bigger than the factory one. The factory one is very thin, and this is 3/16 material here, so I'm gonna assume that's the issue, because you can see the bumper is cut out for the hitch and the wiring harness for the trailer, or the trailer plug holder, right? Well, it hits on mine, it hits. So what I'm gonna do, this is just aluminum, I'm gonna cut it and make it flush with this piece. I'm gonna cut it all the way down, and I'm gonna meet up right here, because I basically put the bumper in place and marked it where I wanted it, and so I'll know where to cut. So I'm gonna cut this out. I'm gonna slice this piece out. I hate cutting on this new bumper, but you know what I'm saying? You gotta make stuff work when, you know, you're dealing with all these different manufacturers and different aftermarket parts. But anyways, I'm gonna cut this out with my old trusty dusty grinder. I'm gonna cut it out right through here, and then check clearance. I have a feeling it'll fit after that, no issues. And if I need to grind a little more off, I will. I don't really mind. Okay, so I figured out what's wrong, right? They give you part numbers for OEM Mopar hitch and trailer harness plug, which is fine, you know. So I use some cheap shit made in China hitch, so it caused clearance issues. Not sure where the hell that came from, but it's more than likely I bought it 5 years ago. I was 100% buying nothing but American-made parts for my JL when I was building it. So this is from somebody we know. I just don't know who the hell it is yet. This is exactly what it is. Some cheap shit, probably right out of China. So It caused clearance issues, which whatever, I'm gonna make it work. But I've got it to fit now. You can see I had to cut it in order to get around that hitch, right? Same thing here on this side, had to cut it to get around that, and then I had to cut it to fit around the plug mount bracket, right? So it is what it is. I got it fitted now, so I'm gonna pull it back off. I'm gonna spray paint the cut edges, and then I'm gonna bolt it up. So that's what I'm doing. That's why I had to do these extra steps. You know, I didn't know that the damn thing was gonna require a Mopar hitch. So it is what it is. I was being a cheap ass. Sometimes I do that, and it costs me, so doesn't matter. This is aluminum, it's easy to cut, no worries. So I'm gonna paint it up, and then I'm gonna install it for the final time. Okay guys, finally got done with the install on the Savvy Legacy rear bumper for the Gladiator. I think this is gonna be a great addition for our Gladiator. It's such a high clearance bumper, which I love. It still retains the factory hitch and wiring for the trailer, so that's awesome. I got the lights installed, so these are the rigid lights. I ended up using the Evo license plate relocation bracket because I just didn't want to put holes in my bed, so that's the option that I chose. And then I wired in the lights that Savvy supplies with the license plate kit, and it all works. The lights are tied into the reverse. Let's take a look at everything once more. I'll go over a couple of things that I think you probably should know or want to know. So these are the lights, naturally. Just so everybody knows, these bumpers do have a recovery point. They're just kind of tucked up in and out of the way, which is pretty cool. It gives everything such a clean look. So I like that. And you can see under here how everything's bolted up. There's one on each side. This cross member is the backbone of this kit, and it's to me looks very, very strong. It's not going nowhere. The good thing about this bumper is, like I said before, it is a modular design, so as you tear these skins up, you can just replace them. I would imagine the first thing that's gonna go are these corner pieces, but who knows? Until I get out and beat on it, I may not have to change any of this stuff out for a couple of years, and by then I may even have a bob bed, who knows. It's got the sensor holes here if you do have sensors. If you have backup sensors, that's gonna be an option for you. They do supply you with these blanks to fill the holes, which is very cool. You can see here how the license plate bracket is kind of bolted on. It's got two bolts on the back side of the tailgate, and you basically unbolt, lay the tailgate down, remove it from that corner over here, and there's two bolts. It's kind of hard to get to, I'm not gonna lie. It would have been easier if I'd have done it before the bumper was installed, but you know, I'm going in stages here, and I have no idea what the next stage is as far as the license plate. I didn't know what I was gonna do until I decided to do it. So nonetheless, I got it done. Not a big deal. I tied these in, like I said, to the reverse lights, so that's cool. These have it's gonna be the amber hue or halo around it. I'll tie those into my rock light. That's pretty much it. Another thing that I should probably point out, I trimmed about 4 inches off the sides of this bed. So it's got a pretty good line here. I showed you before the pieces that they supply to put on the bed. You just gotta drill 3 holes. It's got a backing plate and bolt that on. So I may leave this like it is for now, and then I don't know what I'm gonna do. That other piece does look good, and it's like I don't know, it looks good. It ties it all in with the bumper, but I also like the nice clean look of where it meets up with the fenders. So I don't know, I'm gonna leave it. It does dip in right here because I went with the body lines. I think it'll be fine for now. I'm hoping that this area don't get beat up in the rocks, but we all know how long these beds are on these Gladiators. I'm thinking though, if you look at it kind of straight on, the frame actually sits lower than this portion. So I mean, if it rocked down at an angle where this corner came down first, I could see maybe it hitting there, but I'm hoping this will save it. If not, you know what? It's time for a bobbed bed and cut some stuff off the frame here. I'm gonna have to modify my exhaust. It now is the low point. This bumper is awesome. If you're looking at one, don't hesitate to purchase it. It's very well thought out, very well designed, very high clearance. Gives you the room you need back here for off-roading without having to chop this bed up, so or get a bob bed. And this, like I said, is probably temporary for me. So that's pretty much it. So if you like what you see, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Comment in the comments. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can message me on YouTube, or message me on Instagram or Facebook, doesn't matter. But yeah, that's it. I will catch y'all later. Thanks for watching.